what I have to say is absolutely genuine. I'm not pretending things at all. I cannot think of any place that I would rather show this work. This is a magnificent building, fantastic, and the staff of the museum have been quite wonderful. I want to thank Pete Chelands, Nick Saunders, not just for saying nice things in Nick's case, Pete's case, writing them, because I couldn't understand what you said, but I could read what you have to say. But also for the strange bit of chance that Pete referred to, that I did a lot of research on the song back in the 70s, which resulted both in some of the work there and a book. But at the end of that, I was so depressed about the First World War that I decided I wasn't going to make anything like that again. I'd had enough. I just kicked the habit, really. And then Nick invited me to, sorry, maybe you can't. You probably couldn't hear at the back. To come, as both Pete and Nick said, to come to the Trench Art Conference. And while I was here, I drew, which I do all the time. And Pete saw me drawing, and then we the notion of becoming artist in residence, and then Peter's explained the circumstances. So I want to thank Nick Saunders and Pete Chelands, and I also want to thank some extremely unpleasant security guards at St Pancras, who I had all the documentation about why I was carrying metal tools and metal in order to come to Ypres for the conference. They paid no attention to it at all, and they took everything out and they muddled everything up. And when I got here, and we had the day when there were actually 3 of us demonstrating, my stuff was all muddled. So I thought, well, what can I do? And I put the sketchbooks out. So it grew out of that. So my thanks to Pete and Nick and to all the staff of the museum who've been absolutely wonderful and helped us with brains and also muscle. You'll see Jacob's ladder later. It's heavy, and if you let it slip, it's dangerous. And my wife Sylvie was taking photographs, and it looked just like the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima. There were 3 or 4 staff from the museum lifting it, and I said jokingly, "Do it again, like they did at Iwo Jima." And luckily they didn't. I want to thank both Dominic Duven and Jack Steriano, who acted as unofficial guides over the years and showed me various odd little places that you won't find in the guidebooks in West Hook, which the British call the salient. The area, well, I'll talk about that a bit later. I just want to say my thanks first. I particularly want to thank Aniek van der Wilke for all her hard work and amazing organising ability. I mean, she made things that were complicated become quite smooth, and she found Sylvie and me places to stay. One of them, Sylvie remarked, we loved the places where we stayed. But one of the places, Sylvie said, when they rebuilt Ypres, they rebuilt all the eccentricities and awkwardness as well as the beauty. So many thanks, Anik. I want to thank all our English friends for taking the trouble to come to Ypres. The journey through Flanders, that's the easy bit. The terrible bit is getting around London. So thank you very much for coming. I want to thank in particular Helen and Wes Jacobs, who are very happy are here, for helping with the preparation of transporting the work over here. As you'll see, some of it's very bulky, and so they're great. They've been a great help to us. There's an old-fashioned English word, and it's uxorious, meaning a man who's constantly praising his wife. Well, I am the most uxorious of the uxorious. Sylvie's a very modest person, and she will be embarrassed by me praising her. But she has been the work. I couldn't produce the work, and I certainly couldn't exhibit it without her help. And there's a phrase, a German phrase, and there may be a similar phrase in Flemish. Ohne dich läuft nicht, which means without you nothing works, or without you there is no lift-off. And this is true of Sylvia. And finally, I want to thank the people of Ypres and Westhook, which means most of you, and your ancestors. This is a quite extraordinary city. When I first came here, I have to admit that I was like most English people, fixated on the English dead. And slowly, as I came here, I've made 10 visits in 4 years. Each time I thought I had Ypres is like this. And then I discovered, no, Ypres is many different things. It's a city I find very, very inspiring. And as time went on, I thought more and more of the people who came back. I became less interested in the tactics or what Cap Button, the 24th Dragoons wore, or any of this stuff, or what General Haig did. And I became more interested in the human story of the return. As Pete said, my parents, who were not my parents, obviously, came here either 1919 or 1920, and I wrote the story actually in the book. My father was with his first wife, who was the mother, who was the aunt of the young student girl who later became my mum. And they came to a city that was, and a whole area that was totally destroyed. And as I've been sort of walking around the area, I came at Essex Farm. I came on, there are some bunkers there, and there's a picture of lace makers, which many of you probably know this picture, women sitting outside a very uncomfortable bunker and making lace. And obviously many of your ancestors, the only way they could earn a living, the farms had gone, the land was totally polluted, and the only way they could make a living was by selling cups of tea and sandwiches. Later, as Nick said, trench art objects. And while I was at the trench art conference, Dominic gave a brilliant lecture on the cafe museums. And so slowly, as I was here, I became more interested in the people who came back than I was in the battle itself. So I want to thank you. I find it, as I say, a very inspiring place, and a very inspiring region. So thank you very much. Right.
We zijn met niet zoveel, dus kunnen we er allemaal tegelijkertijd in. Het is een grote ruimte met prachtige grote werken, nieuwiteit. En nadien is er dat boek waar al zoveel over te doen is geweest. En een glaasje. En Steve heeft beloofd dat hij het boek ook wil signeren vanavond. Dus nog één dienstmededeling voor de vrienden van het museum. Zij onder u die het jaarboek nog niet hebben meegenomen, die kunnen dat na afloop bij de voorzitter doen. En ik denk dat Gilbert aan hetzelfde tafeltje is als waar de catalogue stuk op is. Hè? Ja, oké. Voilà, let's go.